Hi, how's it going, friends? I'm Darkoburi, the collector. And for our 50-second video on our channel, I'm bringing you this awesome piece. It won't be any surprise to you that the last video of my first year as a YouTuber is about a piece from Knights of the Zodiac, or better known as Saint Seiya, because it's one of the anime series that has fascinated me the most in this world. So, I'm bringing you this exclusive mega edition of Gemini Saga that was sold separately, let's put it that way, and this premium set was released. What do I mean by separately? Here, the Gemini Saga was sold, as we know it in the MythCloth EX. There was also a Patriarch edition released, and of course, the Gemini Saga Soul of Gold was sold here as well. So, Bandai and Tamashii Nations brought us this exclusive set that includes the Patriarch, Gemini Saga, and Gemini Saga in Soul of Gold form. So, let's do a quick review of this character who, as we know, is epic, one of the strongest gold saints, and at the end of the day, every collector wants this piece. And now, without further ado, let's unbox this piece, which I haven't even seen yet. Let's check out what the lid says and see what our box looks like on this side. Take a look at what's inside, the three figures I promised you. The first is Saga Gemini, which is the MythCloth EX. The second is the Pope, and the third is Saga Gemini Soul of Gold. So, I'm going to show them to you. These are three figures that are sold separately. What was interesting here was getting the exclusive set with all three together. Here's the first one, Saga Gemini Soul of Gold. Let's check out the second one. Here's the Pope edition. And finally, we have Saga Gemini in its MythCloth EX edition. They just complement each other because this little box is a bit smaller in size. They came like this. So, it complemented the Saga Gemini edition, and after that, there's nothing else inside. For today's unboxing, we're going to focus on the most interesting piece, which is the Saga Gemini Soul of Gold, and we'll set these other two aside for now. Alright, now let's unbox this piece which, as I mentioned, is the Saga Gemini, a Saint Cloth Myth EX, but let's just say it's divine. What? Because of the wings that our character has here. If you look closely, the entire armor doesn't match the original Gemini armor, which is the one we have over here on this side. If you notice, here our Gemini Knight does have the shoulder pads, has the helmet, but is missing this part. All the divine armors of the Gold Saints have those particular wings, and that's what we're going to see on this side of the figure. Let's remember that our character had powers like that other dimension attack, the Galician explosion, and the beam he used to control people. Without further delay, let's do the unboxing of this piece of our Gemini Gold Saint. As I've always said, what I like most about the modern Saint Seiya figures is that they come super well protected. They come out really easily and we can remove everything that's inside here. We're going to have our Knight. If you look, here is our Knight Saga. The wings are included, and if you want, you can also assemble the Gemini constellation. If you look, here we have a pamphlet, and on the back is what I was telling you about, the trio of knights when they performed the Athena exclamation, which in my opinion, I'm going to show you a short video. Now, this video is about a forbidden technique that the Gold Saints use among themselves. They were fighting and said, hey, this is a forbidden technique, let's do it with 6 Gold Saints to make it even more forbidden. Honestly, it was one of the coolest techniques ever. In just a moment, the Bronze Saints were suddenly clad in gold armor. So here we have Athena's exclamation, or the exclamation of Athena, and there's an epic figure of this Athena's exclamation, which you'll also soon see on Darkoburi's channel. To be able to assemble our Gemini Saga here, which, to be honest, also looks a lot like canon. Why is that? Because they're twins. Here we have the piece. I can't tilt this too much, but we can take a closer look here at all the pieces that make up our character. And as I've always told you, honestly, I love assembling the character first, and I very rarely build the constellation. And the assembly method I usually recommend is to start with the legs, then the waist, and then move upward. Why is that? because these pieces can be pretty fragile during assembly and the parts can fall off really easily. So let's let our Gemini Saga here for now. We have all our pieces here, and get ready because the code is 3321. Are you ready to assemble our Gemini? Alright, let's get to it. And now, before we continue with assembling our piece, let's send some greetings to those who have messaged us on the Darkoburi channel. First, Damian Orozco, lots of greetings to you, to Tijuana, to Roxanne, who writes to us on Facebook, and to you, Miguel, who messages us on TikTok. Greetings. Remember that I have spoken all the comments. If you like this piece, let us know in the comments which other one you want us to unbox. Because honestly, this one, Saga Gemini, is amazing. It's just awesome. And now, let's take a closer look at the piece. First of all, the helmet. I decided to put it on him. Since I always lose it during battles, I never put it on. But here with Gemini, since it has duality in each part of the helmet, let's take a look at it. Honestly, it's awesome. If you notice, it's a color close to OC. However, it's not actually OCD. I mean, it's not OC, but it's a color that's kind of close. What happens with the divine pieces is that all the quality is emphasized in the details. Let's take a look here at the upper part of the shoulder pads on our Gemini Saga. Also, here another part of the shoulder pads is added. If you notice, it can be lifted up. On this side, we have the same part of the shoulder pads with all the details that come on this piece. The part of the forearm that is covered. Here the bicep area is covered and the forearm area is the one that's left exposed. The details we have on the palms, on the front part of the hands, let's check out how awesome that is. And now, let's go ahead and lift it up. Like I said, I started here with the quadriceps area. Then I moved on here to the calves, the whole lower part. Then I forgot that the middle part here, the abdomen, was missing. What you had to do was lift the chest of the figure a little to be able to insert it, and then lower it back down. That's the first piece that goes down and clicks into place. I've never had to actually lift it up. It always fit really, really well. And here I got to this part of the belt. It has a little piece that snaps the belt into place. It gave me a real headache because it came loose 3 times while I was recording the assembly of our Gemini Saga. And the other piece that looks fragile to me is this one here on the helmet. If you noticed, I tried to put on what is basically the helmet. I tried to fit the head in, but it wouldn't go until this little piece here on Gemini Saga's forehead came off. And with that, I put on the first half of the helmet, then the second half of the helmet. And now, our Gemini Saga is fully assembled. The only thing missing is, let's take a look at the back part here. If you look, there's a little hole here that's almost always for attaching the cape. These knights, as you can see, here's the Pope, who always wears his robes, and Gemini Saga, as we've made quite a few figures. This is where the cape would go, but in this Soul of Gold edition, what do we get? We get a set of 4 wings. Here we're going to look at one, and then part 2. If you notice, this is the upper part, and these are the lower parts, which are the wings. That part fits together with this little piece you see here on this side. You just snap it in. And here you can attach each of the wing parts into the holes. So I'm going to do it really quickly, just to show you the fully assembled figure in detail. This is exactly how our final piece looks once the wings are carefully attached, which are, of course, the wings on Gemini Saga in its Soul of Gold version, as you can see here. Just a reminder, If you haven't seen it, go watch it right away, since it's one of the best series they've released. Even though it's short, all the gold saints appear showing off their best armor. So, this is how the piece looks. Let's take a closer look at it while I tell you the second part of the code, which is 4539. As some final notes about this piece, we should remember the order in which these pieces have been released, obviously from Bandai. Of course, there are others out there, like the vintage ones, the very first ones we had when we were little, the ones where all the pieces would snap together here. Then came the mid-cloth figures, which also had some parts that snapped together here, but the pieces looked a bit nicer. After that, the mid-cloth EX figures came out, which are, for example, in the case of Gemini Saga, first his mid-cloth EX was released, and then the mid-cloth EX OCE versions came out. If you notice, in the anime the armors were gold, but they would add a color to them. Now, they paint different parts so that it stands out when the OCE version is released, honestly. They remove everything else and release it as if it were from the manga, which means it's a completely golden piece, just like the one the knight should be wearing. But let's also remember, thank you, that when they're OCE versions, which means this saga is in OCE, almost all the gold saints had blonde hair. I say almost all, because we saw that Kanzel, for example, had slightly grayish hair, while in the anime it was purple. So that's that. In the end, they wrap up this part after what happens with Hades and before releasing the last part, which I didn't really like that much. That's when it turns into a kind of Pokemon thing, where they carry around little stones for the armor. Honestly, the exciting part was when they had the Pandora boxes behind them, when they suited up, and the armor would appear. Now they have a little pendant here, and then they're all about elements, like if you're water type, fire type, poison type. Here we have our Saga, before all that happened, with his insanely powerful abilities as always. And then they went into Norse mythology, with the Yggdrasil tree. And they had to fight against that. I won't give you any more spoilers, just watch it, I totally recommend it. Here is our Gemini Saga, now in his golden version, one of the knights who, in my opinion, is the strongest. I would even say that, for me, he is the strongest of all the gold saints, even though I'm a Cancer and I really love the Cancer gold saints, especially Manigoldo, who honestly, you can't say that Saga is more powerful than Manigoldo. If you think Manigoldo is more powerful than Saga, or that Saga is more powerful than Manigoldo, let me know in the comments. Honestly, I think Manigoldo would totally wipe the floor with our friend here. Saga, leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? But here's the figure. I put his hands in the pose for the Galician explosion. Honestly, when the name comes up in Japanese, it's super cool. Right now, we're going to play a short video in Japanese of the Galician explosion. Anare. It's so cold. Now, just to finish looking at our piece, here are the wings. It stands on its own, honestly, but we can also add a little base so the piece can be held, always by the waist, and you can add effects or powers, which are never included with these. There was also a version released that included capes for your Samurai Knights, which we also have in the Darkoburi collection, but here they are. All the gold saints have already been released, the ones that are sold old. Collect them all. Honestly, they're a bit pricey, little by little. This particular piece, Gemini, has always been one of the most expensive among all the gold saints, and not to mention this version, which, as we see here, remember, it's Saga, and I'll say it again, Saga, premium set of Aries. So get it if you can. Honestly, you're going to have a really hard time finding this one, but it's one of the main gems in Darkoburi's collection. And now, for those of you at home, or if you're watching me at the office, which one do you think is next? Whoever guesses it will win a huge prize. Let's see, will it be the Pope next, or will it be this Myth Cloth EX? And the answer is none of the above. Here, to almost celebrate our anniversary at Darkoburi, I'm going to show you the very first gem we have from the Knights of the Zodiac. This edition is a truly special watch. I'm going to show it to you here. I haven't taken it out of its box yet, and right now we'll check out its unique features. Here comes our collector's edition. So let's take everything out. Here, we're going to remove the lid and I'm going to show off this special Knights of the Zodiac edition here on the Darkoburi channel. So here we have our Saint Seiya Collector's Edition watch. On our box, we have the Toei Animation logo, which tells us that this is indeed an original and authentic piece from our Knights of the Zodiac. Let me move this character over here. Why? Because the wings are making it so that I almost knock it over. It comes with a manual, but honestly it's a bit difficult because it's entirely in Japanese about how you should use the watch. And basically, it's the following. Do you see? Here, we're going to do a close-up of the entire watch. We can see all the zodiac symbols of the 12 constellations, which are the 12 gold saints, and here are their constellations. And we have the Roman numerals. And also, let me know in the comments if you know. I just found out about this. Why for the number 4 they don't use the I and the V, which is the Roman numeral for 4, but instead they use 4 lines to represent the 4. So, here we can see each of the hours. It's a stainless steel watch, and the coolest thing is that inside here, we're going to take a close-up right now. The serial number is 813 out of 1,200. There are only 1,200 pieces of this watch in existence. Honestly, I'm going to swap it with mine right now so you can check it out here on Darkoburi. And the second feature the watch has is this part. If you don't want to see the time directly, this part can be positioned here and you have it on this side. Let's take a closer look so you can see the cover of our watch, and to me, it kind of resembles the symbol of Athena. Let's take it out so you can check it out. Let's look at it up close. And if you notice, this part only covers the top right here. Obviously, I have to remove the plastic, which we'll do in just a bit, and then our watch would look just like this. You can't see the time until you uncover it, and then you have this watch, which looks gold-plated but is actually just stainless steel, a special Saint Seiya edition here on the Darkoburi channel. Let's do a close-up because if you look, up here at the top you can see all the names of the constellations. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, they're all there. And basically, like I said, I've already removed the little plastic cover from the top. To put on this piece, you just take the watch and start unscrewing the part that was already attached. This is how our watch will look, and basically you just do the opposite. You start screwing this one on, and voila. Now your watch looks like this. However, I find it a bit impractical, since you can't see anything anymore. The watch will be completely covered, protected by Athena, but you won't be able to see the watch hands anymore. So it's up to you. If you don't want to see anything and just want to wear it as a luxury accessory, or if you want to put the names of the constellations here and be able to tell the time on your awesome Knights of the Zodiac watch. Let me know in the comments which of the pieces you like the most. I know you want to see these 2 pieces to do the unboxing. Here we have our solo goal, our exclusive blog. And now, if I asked you again at home, which one do you think will come out now, this one or this one? Because I have to open one of the 2 in this super powerful anniversary video. And the answer is once again none of the above, because I'm going to show off a blank box. But this isn't just any blank box. You know it's what's inside that matters. Let's open it for the big reveal. Let's do the dramatic chan 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 chan. Let's imagine some smoke here, like when magicians make their entrance, and we're pulling out a second watch. Saint Seiya Collector's Edition. Now, this time the company is Premico, which brings us this anniversary watch. Let's see here. It says 30th anniversary of Saint Seiya. The previous one wasn't an anniversary edition. It was just because they could make it. And here we bring you our super powerful watch. Let's take it out. It's a completely different design. Here, I'm going to show you our super powerful watch. But before that, let me show you once again that here on the box we have our Toei Animation seal, which proves that this piece is an original and fully licensed product made for Saint Seiya. Here in the center, we see our golden saint of Sagittarius, in honor of Seiya of Pegasus, who later becomes Sagittarius Seiya, because we're talking about the 30th anniversary of this incredibly powerful series. If you notice, it's already very simple. Here, you only have the numbers at 12, 6, 3, and 9. We left out the 4. That's a question for all the master watchmakers who are watching us right now. And this part here is where you wind it. And it's a watch that opens right here in this little section. So here we have a logo, just here, as you can see the shield we have. Thank you, from our incredibly powerful Athena. And here the constellations start with Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. And if we finish here with Virgo, if you look here in the center part, as you can see, Sagittarius is right here now. If the main part, like they say in the anime, is called Saint Seiya, dude, who's going to be in the center? It's Seiya's. And here the rest of the constellations end. If you notice, it goes from Libra all the way to Pisces. Thank you. What's your constellation? Which gold saint do you like the most? And which one do you think is the strongest? Here we have our watch. Only 3,000 pieces of this watch were made. And let's see, this one is number 158. It's still water resistant. Both are water resistant. Both are water resistant. And both, as I've mentioned, are made of stainless steel. But they come with this small gold plate. So I'll leave you now to admire this excellent piece. This Saint Seiya watch. Here on the Darkoburi channel. The last remarkable part of our box is that here you have the sanctuary. If you look closely, it has the name of each of the constellations. And just like we saw in the series, all the houses of Athena's sanctuary are here, showing the power that Athena has. Obviously, each of the gods has power over the area where they exert their influence, and here it's Athena. It says that you can't teleport inside the sanctuary, which means that if you want to go through each of the houses, you have to do it yourself. On foot, on skates, however you want, walking, running, whatever you feel like. But you can't teleport from the house of Aries to the house of Pisces. And that rule applies even to the gold saints. Thank you. That's the impressive part here, about our sanctuary and our clock. And just as a little bragging detail, I want to show off that out of this piece, of which there are only 3,000 in the world, I had the honor of getting 2 of them. So, here are my 2 30th anniversary Saint Seiya watches, exclusively for you here on the Darkoburi channel. And I hope you enjoyed this video as much as we did, because honestly, I had these pieces stored away very carefully. I don't show them to just anyone, and you have the privilege of seeing them first, right here on the Darkoburi channel. For me, as I've told you, Géminis' Golden Knight is one of the strongest. Tell me what you think, leave it in the comments. You already know we have a ton of pieces, figures, everything related to the world of anime right here. Sometimes we do Marvel, sometimes DC. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do a special unboxing. I have a couple of requests that I haven't been able to fulfill yet because the pieces haven't arrived. But you know, leave it in the comments. We're on all social media platforms. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. We're also on TikTok now. And we're on Instagram too. We're on Medium. Check us out and visit all our social media platforms. Give us that super powerful like, that love it, that heart, the I love you, Darkoburi. You know I love you too. Thanks to all the fans, because now we have over 10,000 followers and we've also hit 1 year with this video. Check out all our social media, visit our online store. You know we also have mugs, thermoses, keychains, pins, and the caps are absolutely amazing. We've shipped from the United States and Spain all the way to Argentina. Shout out to everyone in Argentina watching us out there. Our friend from Ecuador, who's watching us on YouTube, greetings to you too, all the way to Ecuador, and to all our friends there. You know it, here on the Darkoburi channel we've got tons and tons of content. Let us know what you want to see, and as always, Darkoburi, peace out.